welcome to another Rambling review from Adventures in TV Land. For this Rambling review, we're going to talk briefly for a moment about the movie Soul on Fire. Soul on Fire is a film about John O'Leary. It is a true story. Now, John O'Leary was born and raised in the St. Louis area, and when he was 9 years old, he accidentally set himself on fire playing with gasoline. He'd seen some older kids in his neighborhood playing with fire and gasoline, and he attempted it himself, and in the process, he ended up burning his family's house down, as well as burning himself up. 100% of his body was burned, and he survived due to the actions of his siblings. And when he was brought to the hospital, his parents were basically told he doesn't have a chance. They're going to try to operate to save his life, but there's no hope that he'll survive. But he did. He did receive a visit from Jack Buck, the famous baseball broadcaster from St. Louis, a Hall of Famer baseball broadcaster. And he came, and that night he talked to John when he was probably, I don't know if he was even coherent, and told him he could get through this. And surprisingly, John made it through the night, and he improved slightly every day after there. He spent 5 months in the hospital, but he finally got to go home. He had a lot of readjusting to do afterwards, because he did lose his fingers, and he doesn't have any fingers, but he did. He lived, and surprisingly, there were some other miraculous things that happened. The story of how he recovered from that, and he went on to become a building contractor and eventually a public speaker. And he goes around and he speaks all around the world now at events, and he plays the piano and all sorts of things. He's written a couple of books. I have not read either one of those books. I would like to. They're on my list to read now, but I do vaguely remember about John O'Leary. When I was younger, he was right around my age when this happened, and it was a big story in the St. Louis area. The young actor that plays John O'Leary in the movie does an excellent job. A lot of the acting is really well done. William H. Macy plays Jack Buck, and it was kind of neat seeing it because he really did kind of capture the spirit of Jack Buck. He very much captured the essence of Jack Buck's character. It has a bigger story because there's a really good message there. Your life is important, and you do have a purpose. You might not realize what that is, but you do. And the story has a huge connection to St. Louis. I've actually never seen a movie, in all honesty, that I can recall ever that featured St. Louis so prominently in the film. There's a lot of local spots, local areas. Of course, the Arch is in there several times, but Busch Stadium, of course, I'm not sure exactly how they did it, but the old Busch Stadium is seen in the film. If you're from the St. Louis area, you will just enjoy seeing this movie, probably just for seeing the things associated with St. Louis. I really enjoyed Soul on Fire, and I've heard people compare it. It's kind of a Hallmarky feel to it. Now, I will say the only thing I did not like about the film is that it does these kind of time jumps. It starts out in the movie, John, he's adult, and this woman's coming to him when he's working on this house, asking him to come speak to her Girl Scout troop, and then it flashbacks to when he was younger. And it does these kind of flash forwards and flashbacks through part of the film. And that aspect I didn't like. I wish it was, one flashback to go back to tell the story when he was younger, and then flash forward back to the future, and then just go forward in the story. That would have been enough, but the jumping back and forth, it can be a little bit disorienting for some people, and it kind of breaks up the flow of the story, in all honesty. Soul on Fire in theaters right now. Go see it if you want to see an inspiring story. It'll tug at your heartstrings and make you want to make your life important and make a difference in your own life. This has been another Rambling review from Adventures in TV Land. Until next time, that's a wrap.